Well, let's get some more on this, and I'm joined by Steve Georgakis. He's a Doctor of Pedagogy and Sports Studies at the University of Sydney. Steve, many thanks for joining us. You were way ahead of the curve on this. You've been researching tennis match fixing for some time now, so you must have thought that it was inevitable.
Look, we would be very naive to believe that match fixing doesn't take place in international tennis. We have evidence to demonstrate that match fixing goes on in most of the commercialised sports around the world. So I'm not shocked, but obviously here in Australia we're shocked because tennis has this very privileged position in the Australian sporting landscape.
I appreciate you probably can't demonstrate this easily in a small TV studio, but can you perhaps describe how a player might throw a shot or serve to cheat and what experts might look for it? We are talking about a game, of course, where serves are over 100 miles an hour, so it must be quite hard to detect these things.
Look, match fixing has evolved in recent years because of online and live betting. But of course, there's something very special about the sport of tennis. It can be fixed very easily. First of all, it's a one-on-one sport, which means that you don't have the logistical issues in team sports such as football or gridiron or any of these other sports. And secondly, and this is a very important point, it's the nature of tennis. You can somehow have a bit of a stomach upset. On very crucial points, you can have a couple of very unforced errors or a couple of double faults. The real issue is it's very hard to pick out.
But would a player who suddenly, for example, commits a load of double faults during a match, would that automatically be grounds for suspicion? A top player?
Look, it's not a load of double faults, and it's really not even related to the outcome of a particular match. As I said, match fixing is involved. It's little things like winning the next game, winning a set in a prescribed number of games, or alternatively losing the first set, but you end up winning the entire match.
So these are fairly...
So it's not so blatantly obvious.
These are fairly detailed bets, as you say. These are kind of very detailed points in the game.
Oh yes, of course. This is the way it all works, and we know that this is the way that it worked in the sport of cricket. It was really about spot fixing, the number of no balls in an over, for those of you who are familiar with the sport of cricket. It's not simply just about the outcome of a particular match.
Steve, give us an idea of the kinds of the money we're talking about. We know that football has had some very lucrative match-fixing bets. Can these crime syndicates or betting syndicates make more money from tennis?
Look, they obviously can, because hyper-commercialised sport is very heavily backed by big business, and big business pumps, millions of dollars into these sports. And of course, the more money that's in a particular sport, the more opportunity there are for criminal behaviour. We don't actually know the specific figures, because the real problem with match fixing is that you can't catch people out so easily. In sports doping, of course, if you suspect someone of cheating, they can do some kind of a blood test and you catch people out. But in match fixing, it's a lot more difficult to catch people.
Ultimately, does it matter? Match fixing has been going on for as long as sport has been around, pretty much. Millions of people still watch football knowing that games have been rigged. Does it matter for tennis?
Look, it matters for all sports, and if there's a perception out there, if the public believe that they're being deceived, they're going to switch off for that particular sport. They're going to stop their kids from playing that particular sport, and obviously you're going to have a decline in your particular sport. So it's a big problem.
All right, Dr. Steve Georgakis in Sydney, many thanks indeed for talking to us.